Welcome to Double Talk. I'm Hannibal.
And I'm Malcolm.
We're not going to talk about why we're shooting in our house instead of the studio.
Clear the contaminated area.
Let's just say we've had a lot of time to watch commercials, many of them featuring mascots. For the record, I wanted to call today's episode Beast Mode, but our producer said that's a no-go. Today we're going to be covering the big things about the big creatures that are ubiquitous on the sports field, in digital media, and of course plastered all over the products we buy.
Super pals make eating fun!
There are three things you're going to learn today. Number one, why do we have mascots? What's the point? Here's a hint, money. Number two, what makes a good mascot when it comes to our psychology? And number three, what can a good mascot do for you? Let's find out.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but I like it's new what you're telling me.
Welcome to Double Talk, the show where we explore consumer psychology, behavioral economics, and neuroscience to find ideas that deserve a second look. This episode is brought to you by Olson Zaltman, a market research firm that dives into the unconscious to deliver game-changing insights. Point number one, we all anthropomorphize. We can't talk about the idea of mascots without talking about anthropomorphization, which is basically attributing human thoughts and emotions to non-human things. We've been doing it forever, which makes sense when you consider we had to outthink dangerous predators or appease angry spirits. It's generally safer to treat a stick like a snake than vice versa. Even today, 99% of pet owners talk to their pets and believe that they understand to a degree. You get it, right, buddy? Over time, we've transferred many subconscious archetypes to animals through our myths and culture. For instance, fierce tigers, loyal dogs, stubborn goats, zodiac menus, we see you. Using animal mascots is an easy shorthand to transfer that animal's properties to brands or other things. Mascots activate something called kin recognition. It's a vital evolutionary feature that creates a desire to connect with those similar to us. In the wild, animals use it to avoid mating with close relatives and to form bonds. Thanks to this evolutionary trick, babies are able to distinguish their mother's face from strangers as early as 4 days old. A similar pattern even occurs in voice-only personas. Research shows that mentally, we treat the same voice on different devices as the same person, but we treat different voices on the same device as different people. So both of those help increase familiarity, which is good for brands.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
So next, it's on to point number two. What makes a good mascot when it comes to our psychology? Now that we've covered the why of mascots, it's time to talk about the how. How to engineer the perfect mascot. It turns out you don't have to fuse together the body parts of all the world's greatest mascots. Well, that's disappointing. There's a few simple rules for creating a quality mascot that maximizes on brand value. Mascot design rule number one, be as human-like as possible, but don't be creepy. A study titled Where the Wild Brands Are provided this beautiful graph here. As you can see, the most popular animal mascots by far are humans, world's second most annoying animals. You mosquitoes. Ronald McDonald, the Michelin Man, Captain Crunch, Aunt Jemima, the Jolly Green Giant. It does seem like our preference for mascots is driven by more than a touch of vanity. Perhaps our desire to understand products is most effective with the creatures we know best, us. Humans are followed by birds, domestic animals, large wild, small wild, mythical, then aquatic animals. Insects and plants are less popular. I guess Mr. Peanut should have stayed dead. Research published about the role physical similarity to humans plays in our reaction to anthropomorphic creatures found an interesting trend. If your mascot animal resembles a human in its natural state, then anthropomorphic versions are preferred. But if an animal looks less like a human, then its natural form is preferred. Check out this chart from the study. So bears naturally look a bit more like people than lions do, thanks to their forward-facing ears, lack of tails, and hand-like paws. When picking a hypothetical mascot for a sports team, people rated the anthropomorphic bear higher on the feeling thermometer and self-brand connection. Meanwhile, the king of the jungle was rated most favorably in its original lion-y form. There are two reasons for this. One is that humans naturally tend to like things that look more average or typical for their category. The second is that we tend to ascribe characteristics based on personality. So things that appear more human, we tend to imagine are more human. Which also explains why this human hedgehog abomination had to get a complete makeover. It's also why the Thundercats will, sadly, always play second fiddle to Simba. Anthropomorphic animals are also seen as less rugged and more sincere, which ties into our next point. Mascot design rule number 2, make them sincere. Imagine a world without the Charmin bears. It's probably somewhere between Wakanda and Mad Max. Now, which of these two chicks would you buy toilet paper from? I mean, these days you'll probably buy it wherever you can get it. Computer, enhance. Malcolm, there's no computer, it's just me. Okay, then can you enhance? If you chose option B, then you agree with most of the subjects in a fascinating study called Spokes Characters. Spokes characters designed to look sincere and excited, generate higher brand attitude, brand trust, and willingness to pay a price premium. In fact, if you look at this graph here, you'll see that Spokes characters designed to be sincere and excited outperform those that were designed to be sincere or excited by 15% in brand attitude. If you're familiar with the Big 5 personality traits, you may notice that sincerity matches onto agreeableness, the gold standard of likability and trust. In a study, it's also why people preferred this pizza chef, the nice guy with an employee care program, over a more talented but less trustworthy looking chef with Food Network credentials and a secret sauce. When it comes to brands, sincerity outweighs competence. So now we move on to part 3. What can a good mascot do for you? So we've sprinkled little bits of these findings throughout, but now it's really time to bring them home in a big way. First off, we can't forget about the greenbacks. Not you. Money. Ads with mascots are way more effective. Research finds that for ads with characters, recognition of the brand behind the ad ranged between 65% and 100%. Meanwhile, ads without characters had recognition that went from 100% down to as low as 5%. So they really matter. And that's not all. Ads with characters also outpace their peers in new customer gain, market share gain, profit gain, and they reduce price sensitivity, which is a pretty big deal when you're selling anything. And here's the crazy opportunity. Long-running studies show that while about 41% of ads in 1992 featured a character or a slogan, in 2016 only 12% of ads did. So the number of ads with characters is actually going down. Social media ads have an especially low rate, coming in at less than 25% across Facebook and Twitter, which suggests that marketers aren't taking full advantage of the opportunities there.
You know what, let's just forget the conversation and just pose for the picture.
Great mascots also play a very particular role in consumers' willingness to pay more. A study with these two little guys found that simply adding a face to a tablet in a name-your-own price auction made consumers willing to bid 7% more for the tablet with a face. This is because mascots boost attachment, which acts on your emotional thought process to make quality less of a concern. One last intriguing fact. We act differently based on the brands we're in relationships with. You know, like those people who completely change based on their latest bill.
Yes.
Researchers hypothesized that when people imagine brands as individuals, they would be more likely to act as that character. Sure enough, when they were primed to anthropomorphize Krispy Kreme as a person, respondents were 54% more likely to choose to take the elevator versus the stairs in a hypothetical scenario. Meanwhile, when they were asked to anthropomorphize Kellogg's, they were 33% more likely to take the stairs than the elevator. Plus, there's a bit of a paradox for brands seen as servants for consumers. Students who anthropomorphized the Discovery Channel did 20% worse on practice SAT questions than those who didn't. Meanwhile, subjects who imagined the safe Volvo brand were 48% more likely to take risky bets in a hypothetical gambling scenario. This is because when a brand is viewed as a servant, consumers contrast their behavior with that of the brand to signal that they need its help. It's kind of like that cliche ploy when someone plays dumb or pretends to need help as a way to flirt with someone subconsciously. Speaking of, I think I need help choosing some furniture.
Do you believe in love at first sight? Just wait until you see the price. This 5-piece bedroom, all yours for only $9.99.
Well, that about does it for this episode. Hopefully it helps you better release your caged animal spirit. Safely, while you're in quarantine, of course. Until next time, go Tigers, and Bulldogs, and Who's. Shout out your favorite mascots in the comments, and we'll give you a fun fact about them. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
Be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body. Another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go.